First contact misjudge. The Kithil High Council chamber fell silent as First Observer Merrick finished his presentation. His iridescent scales shimmered in the artificial light as he gestured at the holographic display showing Earth and its inhabitants. In conclusion, Merrick said, his translator converting his harmonic speech patterns into standard galactic basic. While the species shows remarkable adaptability, they are centuries behind even our most modest technological achievements. Their primary energy source remains fossil fuels, and they have barely touched their own solar system. I recommend minimal contact and perhaps inclusion in the protectorate program for developing species. High Counselor Venna leaned forward, her crystalline sensory arrays adjusting to focus on the data. Their military capabilities. Primitive. Merrick responded with what passed for a Kithil smile, a slight vibration of his scale patterns. Chemical propellants, basic nuclear weapons, no energy shields. Their most advanced aircraft cannot even achieve escape velocity without external boosters. The council members exchanged harmonics of amusement. It was then that junior observer Talia spoke up, her scales displaying the muted patterns of concern. First observer, with respect, I believe we may be making a serious error in judgment. The chamber's amusement shifted to curiosity. Talia was young for her position, but her observational records were impeccable. While studying their information networks, I noticed something remarkable about their problem-solving capabilities. They approach challenges in ways that defy our predictive models. For instance, when faced with computational limitations, instead of developing more powerful quantum processors like we did, they created revolutionary algorithms that accomplish similar results with far less processing power. Merrick's scales flickered with dismissal. Clever workarounds necessitated by their technological limitations. Nothing more. Then explain this, Talia said, accessing the holographic display. These humans recently discovered one of our automated survey probes that crashed on their moon 50 cycles ago. Within 6 rotations, without any prior knowledge of our technology, they had not only decoded its basic functions, but improved its efficiency by 23%. The chamber erupted in harmonic discord. Impossible, Merrick declared. Our technology is based on principles they couldn't possibly understand. See for yourself, Talia said, displaying the detailed analysis. They approached it from an entirely different angle than our engineers would have. Instead of trying to understand the underlying quantum principles, they observed its behavior patterns and developed what they called a hybrid algorithm that eliminated redundant processes we didn't even realize existed. High Counselor Venna's sensory arrays shifted to their highest resolution setting. If this is accurate, why wasn't it in your primary report? First observer. Merrick's scales dulled with embarrassment. I dismissed it as an anomaly. Their achievement seemed impossible given their technological level, so I assumed our data was corrupted. Show us more examples, Venna commanded Talia. Over the next hour, Talia presented case after case of human innovation. Their solution to atmospheric pollution in their largest city using genetically modified algae. Their development of room temperature superconductors through an accidental discovery while studying spider silk. Their quantum entanglement experiments that approached problems from angles the Kithil had never considered. Most concerning, Talia concluded, is their rate of advancement. This data spans only 50 rotations. Their progress is not linear like most species we encounter. It's exponential. The chamber fell into troubled silence. Finally, High Counselor Venna spoke. First Observer Merrick, your assessment is withdrawn. Junior Observer Talia, you are promoted to Special Observer status. We must reassess our entire approach to this species. She paused, her sensory arrays pulsing with intensity. If they can achieve this much with so little, what will they accomplish once they have access to our level of technology? As if in answer to her question, alarms suddenly blared throughout the chamber. A communications officer burst in, scales flashing urgent patterns. High Council, we've detected an unauthorized access attempt in our network. Someone is trying to decode our encryption protocols. Impossible, Merrick whispered. Our quantum encryption is unbreakable without. Source located, the officer interrupted. It's coming from Earth. The council chamber erupted in chaos as the implications became clear. While they had been debating whether to bring humanity into galactic civilization, humanity had already begun reaching out on its own, in ways the Cathel had never anticipated. They had thought humans primitive. They had thought wrong. The challenge rises. Dr. Sarah Chen stared at the streams of alien code flowing across her quantum displays, her fingers hovering over the holographic interface. Behind her, in the underground facility beneath the Atacama Desert, dozens of the world's best scientists and engineers worked in focused silence. "They've noticed us," she announced, watching new patterns emerge in the data stream. "Their countermeasures are elegant." A slight smile crossed her face. But not elegant enough. General Rivera, representing the United Earth Defense Council, stepped forward. "Should we withdraw? We've proven we can penetrate their systems." "No," Sarah replied, her fingers dancing through the holographic symbols. "They're not trying to shut us out. Look at this pattern. They're inviting us deeper. This isn't a defense. It's a test." In the Kithel High Council chamber, Special Observer Talio watched the humans' progress with a mixture of horror and fascination. "They're not just decoding our encryption," she reported. "They're improving it as they go. They'd found quantum resonance patterns we never noticed." High Counselor Vena's decision was immediate. Send them the challenge protocol. On Earth, Sarah's displays suddenly shifted. The streaming data coalesced into a single, complex problem. A mathematical and engineering challenge that made her breath catch. "They want us to prove ourselves," she said, her voice barely a whisper. This is beautiful." The challenge was deceptively simple. Design a way to stabilize a quantum singularity using only the materials and energy sources currently available on Earth. It was a test the Cathel had used to evaluate advanced civilizations for millennia. None had solved it with pre-FTL technology. Sarah assembled her team. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, whose work on quantum entanglement had revolutionized computing. Dr. Mohammed Al-Rashid, whose theoretical work on gravity manipulation had earned him 3 Nobel Prizes. Dr. Carlos Mendoza, whose biotechnology innovations had saved millions from a global pandemic. "They think this is impossible with our current technology," Sarah explained, projecting the challenge parameters. "They're expecting us to give up or ask for help." "But we're not going to do either," Carlos said, already sketching ideas on his tablet. "No," Sarah agreed. "We're going to show them something they've never seen before." Over the next 3 weeks, the team worked without rest. They approached the problem from angles the Cathel had never considered. Instead of trying to contain the singularity through brute force like most species, they designed a system that worked with its natural properties. "Look at how they're doing it," Talia reported to the High Council. "They're using biological computing matrices to predict quantum fluctuations. They're incorporating principles from Earth's weather patterns to manage energy distribution. This shouldn't be possible." The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Dr. Tanaka had been studying the behavior of shoaling fish, how they moved in perfect synchronization without central coordination. "What if we applied this principle to quantum particles?" she suggested. The solution crystallized. Instead of fighting against quantum uncertainty, they would use it. They designed a system where quantum particles would naturally organize themselves around the singularity, like fish swimming around a predator. "It's ready," Sarah announced after another week of refinement. She looked exhausted but triumphant. "And it's better than what they asked for." The Cathel received their response with disbelief. Not only had the humans solved the challenge, but they had done it in a way that was more efficient and elegant than the Cathel's own solution, a solution that had been unchanged for 10,000 years. "This changes everything," High Counselor Vena declared. "They're not just worthy of contact. They're worthy of partnership." But not everyone in the council chamber shared her enthusiasm. Some scales flickered with patterns of fear rather than admiration. If humans could do this with primitive technology, What would they accomplish with advanced Kithel science? On Earth, Sarah and her team celebrated their success, unaware that their solution had just fundamentally altered the galaxy's power dynamics. They had proven that humanity could not be dismissed or controlled. The Kethel had issued their challenge expecting to maintain their technological superiority. Instead, they had just witnessed the emergence of a species that might soon surpass them. The real challenge was only beginning. Turning point. Ambassador Marcus Wong stood in the grand atrium of the Kithel Science Academy, trying not to show his amazement at the crystalline architecture that seemed to defy physics. 6 months had passed since Earth's solution to the quantum singularity challenge, and the subsequent technology exchange had accelerated human development by centuries. But something was wrong. "You sense it too," Dr. Chen whispered beside him. Sarah had become Earth's lead scientific liaison after her team's breakthrough. "They're scared of us." Marcus nodded slightly. The Kethel scientists they passed displayed scale patterns that their cultural advisors had identified as anxiety or fear. Where once there had been curiosity about humans, now there was apprehension. "Did you see what the engineering team did with their FTL designs?" Sarah continued. "They didn't just understand it. They'd redesigned it. The Kethel have been using the same drive system for millennia. Our team improved its efficiency by 40% in 2 months." "The council is meeting about us today," Marcus replied. "Some factions are pushing for restrictions on technology sharing." Before Sarah could respond, alarms blared throughout the academy. The crystalline walls pulsed with urgent patterns of light. The scientists rushed past them, scales flashing in panic. Special Observer Talia appeared, her scales showing genuine distress. "You need to come with me. Now." They followed her to a secure observation chamber. The main display showed a Kithel research station near their sun. As they watched, the station's containment fields began to fail. "That's one of the facilities using our modified quantum stabilization technology," Sarah realized. "Something's wrong with the containment field. Our scientists tried to improve upon your design," Talia explained. "They didn't fully understand the principles involved. The field is collapsing. If that station fails, the resulting quantum cascade could destabilize the entire star," one of the Kithel scientists announced grimly. Marcus watched Sarah's face as she studied the data. He recognized her expression, the same one she'd worn when solving the original challenge. "I can fix this," she said. "But I'll need direct access to their systems. Full access." The Kithel scientists exchanged alarmed patterns. Giving the human unrestricted access to their most sensitive systems was unthinkable. But as the containment field continued to deteriorate, they had no choice. Sarah's fingers flew over the alien interface, now as familiar to her as Earth technology. "They tried to force our quantum organization principles into their traditional framework," she muttered. "You can't do that. It's like trying to force a river to flow uphill." Marcus watched in amazement as she rewrote the station's core protocols in real time, integrating Kethel and human principles into something entirely new. The containment field stabilized, then strengthened beyond its original capacity. "There," Sarah said, stepping back. "I've also added safety protocols to prevent similar accidents. Your scientists should study them carefully." The chamber was silent. What Sarah had just done, casually rewriting advanced alien technology while under immense pressure, demonstrated exactly why some Kethel feared humanity's potential. "The council vote will be starting," Talia said quietly. "This incident will influence their decision, whether they restrict technology sharing or not." Marcus replied. "They need to understand something." He turned to face the Kethel observers directly. "Humanity isn't going to stop advancing. We can do it together as partners, or we can do it alone. But we will do it." As if to emphasize his point, new data appeared on the displays. The modified containment field wasn't just stable, it was operating at efficiency levels that Kethel science had considered theoretically impossible. They had wanted to evaluate humanity's potential. Now they were facing the consequences of their success. The balance of power wasn't just shifting, it was being completely rewritten. And this was only the beginning. Crisis and innovation. The emergency meeting of the Kithel High Council was interrupted by something unprecedented, a joint warning from every deep space monitoring station in the sector. High Counselor Venna's sensory arrays processed the data with growing alarm. Something is coming, she announced to the assembled council. Something that shouldn't be possible. The holographic display showed a massive object moving through space, consuming everything in its path. Not merely planets or stars, but space itself seemed to vanish into it. A quantum singularity, Special Observer Talia asked. No, Venna replied. Something worse. It's a tear in spacetime, and it's growing. Sarah Chen and Ambassador Wang were summoned to the council chamber within hours. The Kithel sphere was now focused on something other than humanity. Our scientists estimate we have 30 days before it reaches populated space, Venna explained. Nothing we've tried has affected it. Even our most powerful weapons are absorbed without impact. Sarah studied the data, her mind racing. It's not just absorbing matter and energy, she realized. It's absorbing the underlying structure of spacetime itself, like a run in a fabric, spreading outward. Can it be stopped? Marcus asked. Not with force, Sarah replied. But maybe we don't need to stop it. Maybe we need to repair it. The Kithel scientists reacted with confusion. The concept of repairing spacetime was alien to them. Their solutions always involved containment or destruction. Think about it, Sarah continued, growing excited. When you get a tear in fabric, you don't try to destroy the tear, you stitch it back together. We need to do the same thing with spacetime. Impossible, one of the Kithel scientists declared. The energies involved would be massive, Sarah agreed. But we don't need to generate those energies. They're already there, in the tear itself. We just need to redirect them. She began sketching out a plan that made the Kithel scientists' scales ripple with disbelief. It combined their quantum singularity stabilization technology with Kithel spacetime manipulation principles in ways neither species had considered before. It's theoretically possible, Talia admitted after studying the proposal, but the precision required. One mistake, and we could make things worse. Then we better not make any mistakes, Sarah said simply. The next 3 weeks were a blur of activity. Every available scientist from both species worked on the project. The Kithel provided their most advanced technology, while human scientists contributed innovative approaches to using it. They built a network of space-time anchors, massive devices that would essentially create a framework around the tear. But the real innovation was in the control systems. Traditional computer systems aren't fast enough to coordinate this, Sarah explained. We need something that can react at quantum speeds. The solution came from an unexpected source: the biological computing matrices they developed for the quantum singularity challenge. Expanded and enhanced with Kithel technology, they created a system that could predict and respond to space-time fluctuations almost instantaneously. As the tear approached, tension mounted. The device network was deployed, untested and unprecedented. No one knew if it would work. It's spreading faster than predicted, a Kithel scientist reported. We're running out of time. Sarah sat at the main control interface, surrounded by displays showing the tear's approach. Everything depended on precise timing. Trust me, she said to the room. Then, more quietly, trust us. The tear reached the first anchor point. Sarah activated the system. Space itself seemed to shudder as energies beyond comprehension were channeled and redirected. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, slowly, the tear began to close, its edges knitting together like healing wound. The Kithel chamber erupted in harmonics of relief and celebration. But Sarah wasn't celebrating. She was watching the readings with growing concern. Something's wrong, she announced. The tear is closing, but there's a feedback loop building in the anchor network. If it overloads, She left the sentence unfinished. They all knew what would happen. They had saved space-time from being torn apart, only to face a new crisis that could be even worse. And they had less than an hour to solve it. Paradigm shift. The overloading anchor network lit up the void of space like a web of lightning. Each node pulsed with energies that could tear apart the fabric of reality. In the Kithel control center, chaos reigned. "Shut it down," someone shouted. "We can't," Sarah replied, her fingers dancing across the interface. "The quantum matrices are locked in a cascading feedback loop. If we shut it down now, the backlash will be worse than the original tear." High Counselor Venus' sensory arrays shifted rapidly between displays. "How long?" 47 minutes until critical failure," Sarah answered. She turned to Marcus. "Get me a direct line to Earth. I need the quantum computing team." As Marcus worked to establish the connection, Sarah explained her plan to Talia. "The anchor network is like a musical instrument right now, playing a song that's growing louder and more chaotic. We need to change the tune." "What do you mean?" Talia asked. "Your species thinks in terms of control and containment. Mine thinks in terms of harmony and flow. We don't need to stop the energy. We need to redirect it. Make it work for us instead of against us." The quantum computing team from Earth appeared on the main display. Dr. Tanaka's face showed understanding before Sarah even finished explaining. "Like the shoaling fish," she said. "But this time, we're not just organizing quantum particles, we're organizing space-time itself." They worked frantically, human intuition and creativity, combining with Kethel precision and knowledge. Sarah's team rewrote the biological computing matrices, while Kethel engineers modified the anchor network's physical structure. 20 minutes, a Kethel scientist announced. Sarah uploaded the new protocols. The anchor network shuddered, its angry red pulses shifting to a softer blue. The energy was no longer fighting against the network. It was flowing through it, creating patterns that reminded Talia of Earth's ocean waves. "It's working," Sarah breathed. "The feedback loop is stabilizing." But they weren't done. As the energy found its natural rhythm, new possibilities emerged. Sarah saw it first. "We can use this," she said excitedly. "The network isn't just controlling space-time, it's mapping it, understanding it in ways we never could before." The implications hit Talia like a physical force. The anchor network, born of human innovation and Kithel technology, had become something entirely new, a tool for comprehending the fundamental nature of reality itself. Hours later, as the crisis passed and the data began pouring in, High Counselor Venna called a special session of the Council. "Today marks a turning point," she announced. "We thought we were mentoring a young species, showing them the way to the stars. Instead, they have shown us new ways to see the universe itself." She turned to where Sarah and Marcus stood. "The restrictions on technology sharing are lifted. But more than that, we propose a true partnership, not between teacher and student, but between equals." Marcus stepped forward. "Earth accepts with one condition." He paused, making sure he had everyone's attention. "The partnership must be open to all species who wish to join. No more artificial barriers, no more holding back progress out of fear." The council chamber filled with harmonics of agreement. The Kethel had finally understood. Humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology or their intelligence. It was their ability to see possibilities where others saw problems, to find harmony in chaos, to turn rivals into partners. Sarah looked out at the assembled council, then up at the displays showing the anchor network, still pulsing with blue light. In less than a year, humanity had gone from a primitive species to one that had helped save reality itself. But that wasn't what made her proud. What made her proud was that they had done it not by dominating or controlling, but by understanding and cooperating. They had proven that humanity's place in the galaxy would be defined not by power, but by potential. They had thought humans were primitive. They had thought humans needed to be contained. They had thought wrong. And the galaxy was better for it.